Hey everybody, Shane here, Shoebox Legends. Thanks for joining me for a trade or a flip episode today. I want to get into the details of an exchange that I completed within the last month that I thought was pretty incredible, and I think many of you may appreciate it as well. It shows the true power of the PSA 10, the Gem Mint 10, which, love it or hate it, is just a reality in our hobby. And I think it's one of those rare trades or exchanges that really was a perfect fit for both parties. So let me give you kind of the high level overview. I'll try not to take too much time here. But long story short, 10 years ago, I was a rabid Boston Red Sox fan and Red Sox collector. And one of the players who was breaking into the game at that time and was my favorite player at the time was Xander Bogaerts. So back in 2014, I collected a good deal of Xander Bogaerts rookie cards, just like this one. And one of the sets that I focused on at the time, because I've always enjoyed it, is Topps Chrome and the various refractors. So this here is an example of his rookie card, or the black refractor parallel of his rookie card, numbered to 100. And next to it, we have the sepia foil or sepia refractor, which is numbered out of just 75 back then. So two pretty nice Bogaerts cards. But back in 2014, I had completed nearly the rainbow on that Topps Chrome card. And many years later, fast forward to 2023, I think it was, I was kind of reevaluating my collection. Not a Xander super collector these days, and not even necessarily a Red Sox team collector. And I decided to start moving on from some of my Xander Bogaerts cards and exchanging those really through sales or trades for cards that are a better fit for my collection. So about a year and a half ago, I took one of the nicer copies that I had of this Xander rookie, which was this card here, the red refractor. These are numbered to 25 copies and is maybe the most desirable, certainly one of them, of his Topps Chrome rookie card parallels. And I sent it off to PSA for grading. And my intent was to potentially keep it, but honestly, if I got a really high grade, and I mentioned this at the time when I showed the PSA return in my video earlier this year, that I would consider selling it if the opportunity presented itself. Well, as the summer wore on, I really decided that I wanted to at least dangle the Bogaerts card out there. So I listed it on eBay at an extremely high buy it now price that I knew was more than the card was worth, but I set it to accept offers. And I ended up hearing from somebody by kind of dangling that card out there and making it known that I had it via that eBay listing. I heard from somebody who is, it turns out, kind of the ultimate super collector of this very Xander Bogaerts card. And he was intrigued because he was trying to get every parallel, like the ones that you see on screen here, all in PSA 10s. And as luck would have it, one of the few that he was missing in that quest was the red numbered to 25. So we began communicating directly, took our conversation offline, and it developed into a larger trade because I also had the atomic refractor of this card ungraded, just like these two in the background. And that's a really tough one, numbered to just 10. And that card in particular, he had been searching for. He lacked any copy of that card at all. So long story short, we came up with an exchange that I thought was more than fair. I sent him the PSA 10 red refractor of the Xander rookie and the ungraded atomic refractor of the Xander rookie, numbered to 10. So for my part, those two cards left my collection. In return, I got the Xander red refractor, only this copy is a PSA 9. So I downgraded, which is something I've done before. It doesn't bother me in the least. I downgraded from a PSA 10 to a PSA 9 on the Xander, one grade down, but it's a card that's numbered to 25, so that doesn't matter as much to me. However, it was extremely important to the gentleman that I completed the trade with, and I can understand why, because it's one of the few cards that he didn't have in a PSA 10. So he's pumped. He offloaded his 9. I maintained the card in my collection, which is really what I wanted anyway. And then obviously to offset the downgrade and the atomic refractor, we agreed on a payment as well of funds directly to my PayPal. And then what I did is I turned around and used those funds to acquire 4 different cards that I've always wanted for some degree of time for my collection. So I want to review those four. So really what it ended up being is I gave up 2 Bogaerts, a PSA 10 and an ungraded. In return, I got back the PSA 9 of the same card and these 4 other kind of bonus cards. And so these are what I used the funds to go out and acquire. The first one we've seen in a recent video. I did a tribute to Ichiro Suzuki and I showed this great rookie card in a PSA 9. And I mentioned it in that video, but this is one that I've always wanted to acquire. Greatly admire him as an individual. And it felt like kind of a big hole in my collection for the way that I collect, not having his Topps rookie card. And I think now, like many have mentioned, is a great time to get in on Ichiro before he gets into the Hall of Fame. And then ditto for this next guy, and then these pair together perfectly well, but I also went out and grabbed the matching Albert Pujols from 2001 Topps Traded, also in a PSA Fine 9. So these are 2 of the earliest, most significant rookie cards of the 21st century in the hobby. I love the tale of these 2 players coming into the league at the same time, but with very different backstories. Obviously, Ichiro had already played years professionally over in Japan, and Pujols was just exploded onto the scene. Many others have said this, I'm not alone, but I'm not sure we'll ever see 2 players who debut in the same season and end up making as significant an impact on the game of baseball as these 2 did. So these are 2 cards that I have honestly wanted for over 20 years, since I got back into the hobby, quite honestly. And I kept prioritizing other cards over these 2 because of the fact that they're not rare or scarce. I would never get to them. But I do feel like, and again, this has been said by others, now price-wise, market-wise, I don't watch the market because I'm trying to make money. I watch the market because I want to acquire the cards that I would like to own at the cheapest possible price point, leaving me more money for other cards. And I feel like, at this time period, as many others have said, before these 2 get enshrined, the window to pick these up is really, really good. And I was easily able to acquire both of these rookie cards in matching PSA 9s as part of this trade. And then at that point, I still had a decent amount of funds left. And what I like to do when this happens is I try to get 1 or 2 bigger, more significant cards. I don't want to spend a small windfall like this on a bunch of $10 cards that I could normally buy on my standard collecting budget. So I tried to pony up and find 2 significant cards. And what I ended up doing is I found one that is, very new, ultra modern, I guess you would call it, and then a vintage card. And they're part of the same theme and they're tied together. And it's something that I've really been focusing on. Both of these are huge additions to my AL home run leaders collection. So let's start with the ultra modern and then we'll move into vintage. Look at this beauty. I've shown many different iterations of this card, but it is the 2023 American League Home Run Leaders card. And in this case, it's from Topps Chrome Sapphire Edition. And as you can see, pardon the glare, by the flip, this is the red refractor numbered to 5 copies. And I have here copy 3 of 5. I've talked a lot about this in past videos. I'm already approaching the 10-minute mark, so I'll keep it brief here. But I think this is a sneaky, important, modern baseball card for the record that it pays tribute to. And I never dreamed of owning a serial numbered copy as low as 5. This was a perfect card for me to pick up with this windfall, not only because the funds originated from a red refractor, which is kind of perfect, but it's the type of card that I would never be able to normally pursue or wouldn't be willing to spend the money on that it would take to acquire the card. But since I had a little bit of extra kind of free play money in the hobby, I decided to step up, take a crack at it. My initial offer was way less than what it was listed at for sale, like maybe 50% of the asking price. In the end, got the seller to come significantly down. This guy went in for authentication, and now it is a cornerstone piece of my American League Home Run Leaders collection. Love this card. It is the lowest numbered copy of this card that I own. And what's really cool about this, Topps Chrome Sapphire Edition doesn't have a ton of parallels. There's only like 4 or 5 parallels. So I have the gold out of 50, and now I also have the red numbered to 5, and I also have the orange out of 25. So I'm nearly done with a rainbow of this card from Sapphire. So beautiful, beautiful card. We'll put this one up. And that one is going to be, I would imagine, a permanent resident in my 62 card American League Home Run Leaders collection. And speaking of that, as I referenced, the final card that I acquired in the flip is of the vintage variety. And this is a card I've wanted, honestly, since I was a little boy in the hobby. And I've never owned a copy in any condition until today. But with the money that I had, the funds available, I stepped up and bought one that is my forever copy. The 1962 Topps Roger Maris in a PSA 6. Look at this. Look at this card. I mean, simply gorgeous. One of the more iconic, I would say, cards from the 1960s. Obviously, due to the fact that it pays tribute to that home run feat. He got card number 1 on the checklist in 62, having broke the Babe's record the year before. And of course, this one here has the actual stats on the back. So you can see that 61 home run season. And even the cartoon talks about home runs. And then obviously the write-up here mentions that he is the first and at this time only player to ever hit 61 home runs in a season. Of course, eclipsed 61 years later by the feat represented on that card, Aaron Judge hitting 62 in 2022. So I already own the 61 Maris in a copy that I'm really, really happy with and pleased to call my forever copy. And this is definitely my forever copy of the 62. Just a really, really sharp example. It's a little bit late as I'm recording this, so the lighting in here is not quite as bright as it usually is. Hopefully the card is really coming across on video, but it's a stunner. It is well centered, and it just looks incredible. And like the first card that we looked at, or the card prior to this, this will be a permanent member of my 62 card American League Home Run Leaders kind of mini collection. So really happy with how this trade worked out. I would have never imagined 10 years ago when I was buying those Bogaerts cards that 2 of them would translate into one of the same Xanders, just in a lower grade. And then these 4 new amazing cards, 2 iconic rookies from 2001 that I've never owned. The Maris depicting the feet on the back, and also the red numbered to 5 2023 AL Home Run Leaders. So that's the story of my flip. Could not be more pleased with how this took place. It's a little bit against what I've been trying to do, the fact that 2 cards went out the door and 5 came back. So that's a little bit counter to what I'm trying to do, reducing the size of my collection. But in this case, all 5 are just home runs and have such a specific purpose in my collection. I feel like my collection is so much better off for having executed this trade. And I know the very, very kind gentleman that was on the other end of this is extremely satisfied with his PSA 10 Xander and sent the other one off to PSA right away. So I have my fingers crossed for him that one comes back at 10 as well. Would love to see that happen for him. But that concludes this. I'd love to hear your thoughts below on whether you've ever done any flipping or trading like this and what you think of how I did here. But I'm going to cut it for now. I appreciate your thoughts and feedback, and I'll be back soon with some more content. Till then, keep enjoying the hobby, everybody. See ya.